Listen, folks, I've always said if you want to compete with Call of Duty, and I'm speaking to my followers, but I'm also speaking to developers if they actually see this video. If you want to compete with the mammoth that Call of Duty is, you're gonna have to copy two things to begin with. If you don't copy these two things, don't bother making an FPS game. Your game will be here, people will play it for a month or two, and then they'll just forget about it. Okay? You've got to get two things down, first of all. One is the gunplay, and the second part is the movement. You need to mimic those two things from Call of Duty. If you don't mimic those two things, and I'm talking about the most perfect game out of the Call of Duty franchise I can choose is Modern Warfare 2019. That gunplay and that movement was perfect. And I'm not talking about slide cancelling, I'm not talking about bunny hopping, I'm just talking about the overall gunplay, the sway from left to right. It doesn't have this slow movement at the beginning, then slowly starts to accelerate faster as you pan more to the right or to the left, and then when you stop moving the analog stick, it's like you've hit a wall. All this crazy rubbish that we've experienced in games like Halo, which is why it's now come and gone, no one's interested in playing it, and Battlefield 2042. I don't care what anyone says, we've got the game that we've always wanted. I'm not interested. It had its chance and now it's done. Those two games fumbled the bag. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was arrogance or sheer incompetence, but they wanted to do their own thing and they failed. But there's two games on the horizon. One is one that I played on stream on my channel and posted about it. It was roughly sometime last week. One is Boundary. Absolutely fantastic with what they've done. They've straight 100% mimicked the gunplay of Call of Duty. Movement wise, it's a completely different game. You're in space, you can go up, down, left, right, but nevertheless the controlling from left to right, there's none of this slow acceleration then speeding up as you're panning to the left. There's none of this weird stuff when it comes to ADSing where it's like you're like in a square box. No, it's all circular, fluid, same speed, motion. Okay, everything when it comes to that gunplay feels like Call of Duty. The only difference is with that game there's no aim assist, and which I prefer because it's more gratifying when you get a kill. And a lot of the guns that they have in that game are hit scan. They need to fix that because you've got people right at the back of the maps with snipers just cheesing people. They've got a gun balancing issue, but apart from that, fantastic game. That's the only issue. Sort the gun balancing out, you're done. And with Xdefiant, bear in mind it's an alpha. I'm not allowed to show any of the footage I played simply because there's an NDA. I'm allowed to speak about it, but I'm not allowed to show any footage. Now, few problems. However, it's an alpha, bear in mind. When I first jumped in, it gives you an option to go into a training ground. I jumped into the training ground now. And first thing that I do is the number one test. Does it play and feel like Call of Duty, gunplay wise and movement wise? And it was a tad bit clunky when I was panning left to right and whatever and shooting. However, when you go into the settings, it has a lot of settings just like Call of Duty does with the ADS multiplier and with the high zooms and low zooms. You can change all of these variables, and I obviously know how these things work. I learnt them all through Call of Duty and they all mean the same thing in this game. So after about an hour and a bit of tweaks, I actually got fully fluid Call of Duty gunplay movement. Now the problem that this brings is most casuals are not going to go into the settings and do what I did. Most casuals are lazy. They just want to turn the game on with the default settings and play. If a casual comes across this and it doesn't feel like Call of Duty straight away, maybe one or two of them will just say, I'll scrap this, I'm going back to Call of Duty. However, I went into the settings and tweaked it and got it to the Call of Duty mechanical feel. So they're going to have to retweak the settings and have what I found and make that default standard. Okay, the fluidness, the strife from left to right, they're going to have to get all of that fully tweaked straight away. But it's pretty obvious with this developer who's made Xdefiant, they fully understand that for their game to compete, they have to get Call of Duty's movement, and it's pretty. You can tell that's what they've been going for. You can tell like they're tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until they get something that can replicate Call of Duty. Because again, if you haven't got Call of Duty's movement, you do not stand a chance in this FPS genre. Call of Duty is going to run reign again, monopolize everybody with their gun reg, hit manipulation, and all that rubbish. But it's not about them. It's about Xdefiant. So when it came to going into an online game to go up against the general public, I felt like when I was shooting people with the AR, the bullet trails were rather slow. It was incredibly slow. So slow that when my character was shooting somebody and I was moving to the left and right, trying to rotate, I could still see the bullets trailing out of the gun as I'm swaying to, say, the right. The gun had like a curve of bullets going to the left. Now, I'm not asking for hit scan guns. But that shouldn't be happening in a competitive FPS game. This isn't Fortnite. Well, I'd like to think it's not Fortnite. However, it kind of felt on the odd occasion like as if I was playing Returnal. If you've ever played Returnal, you get one of those laser guns and you strafing to the left and right and you can see the guns curving on the opposite side of you. It's called candy gameplay. I call it candy gameplay. No, they need to make sure that we don't see the bullet trace. I'm not saying you can't have a bullet trace, but it should be a lot quicker than it was. Very slow bullets was coming out of the ARs. So slow to where the enemy in front of me, when they started strafing left to right, they were dodging the bullets because the bullets were taking too long to get to the destination. However, this is alpha. It's an alpha. Can't complain. There was a problem with the hit registration when it came to, for example, somebody shooting you, you hit a corner and you're blatantly around the corner, no excuses, but you still die. Again, this is an alpha, but a few hit reg problems there. And they have these things which give you like perks in the game, which give you like little miniature special powers. One of the perks where you can have like this laser shield around you, or like a in Call of Duty you have that little plate thing that you can put in front of you as like a protection. They have like a laser version. They have this perk which is 100% broken. What it does is you drink this potion and it gives you like double HP. And if you don't have that perk on and you go up against someone who has that perk on, you don't stand a chance. You're not going to beat them in the trade, because the best way I can explain it is you start off with, say, 100 HP and that potion gives you 200 HP. So a person with 100 HP going up against a person with 200 HP, you're trading bullets. You probably only got about 30 bullets in a mag. You're going down with your 100 HP. That person with the 200 HP is going to be alive. You're not beating anybody with this potion. It's broken. It needs to be heavily nerfed, and it's ruining the flow of play. Because it's allowing people to get cheap kills. And it also had this cloaking mechanism. I used it, but I'm not sure if it made me invincible, but it still felt like people could see me. It was quite odd in that regard. And also in this game, when you try and jump, you don't jump as high as you would be in a game like Call of Duty. So jump shotting doesn't work in this game. The only way it would work in Xdefiant is if, say, you're on a ledge and you jump down off the ledge. That's the only way it's going to work. But there's no bunny hopping in this game. No. It could be subject to change, but as for now, that doesn't work. And sliding just works as generic sliding. There's no slide cancelling. Sliding works how it's supposed to work in, I'd say, real life, kind of. It's not as bad as Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2022, but it's not as good as Modern Warfare 2019. But apart from that, there was a few situations with the ping. One lobby I'm getting 29 ping, which is good, and then the next lobby I'm on 210. And you really do feel it. Like there's no aim assist, your guns don't hit. There's no hit marker, nothing. And then you get back into a lobby after it, and it's now 39. You're like, okay, it's cool again. And then you get to a lobby after that, and it's like 110. I'm not sure if they're trying to just scramble people around to try and see how the game responds when a person's on high ping or low ping. I would assume that maybe that's what they're doing, but however, I'll never know. But overall, the gameplay wise, due to me tweaking it, it felt just like Call of Duty. Graphically, it's not as good as Call of Duty, but I don't care about the graphics in Call of Duty. I don't think anyone really does care about that. When I was on PC, I put all the graphics settings low anyway, because I just didn't want any extra reason for hit reg or movement or anything. I just didn't want additional memory to alter my gameplay. And apparently, from what the developers have said, there's not going to be any skill-based matchmaking in pubs. Hooray! It's going to be where it belongs, in a ranked mode, and not where we just casually just want to play, which is fantastic, music to my ears. So clearly he's going to use things like skill-based matchmaking in ranked modes, but not pub modes. And I think that's where, if they do come good, it's going to force games like Call of Duty to actually clean their act up. And that's what we need. We need healthy competition in the FPS genre right now. We can't keep having Call of Duty, aka Activision, monopolizing the player base with their shady antics, knowing full well there's nowhere else we can go, so they just give us rubbish and we just have to deal with it. Yeah, the future's looking bright, people. We've got 2 games on the horizon. I'm hoping that they both come out this year. Boundary set for a late release 2023. I'm not sure when Xdefiant comes out, but either way, when those 2 games come out, I'd say Xdefiant is 85% there. I'd say 85% in its gunplay. Just needs a few tweaks, and Boundary's already 100% there. It's just that it's a different dynamic of movement, but the movement isn't bad. It's just a different game movement-wise, and I love it. So that's 2 competitors on the way, and it's gonna be a lot different this time. I know people are saying, "Oh, we've heard the whole Call of Duty killer before. They always flop." However, on this particular occasion, we've got 2 games where the developers are blatantly making sure they mimic Call of Duty's gunplay, the gunplay that we all loved from Modern Warfare 2019. Boundary's already there, Xdefiant is getting there, and I just hope these games really start to make Call of Duty sweat, so Call of Duty, after sweating profusely, can then start to clean their act up and give people a good game. A game worth buying and worth playing, and a game that's fair. Because then what we'd have is we'd have 3 games that we can all play, people. 3 games. When one's annoying, you can move to the next. And when that one's annoying, you can move to the next one. And it's a healthy variety of games that we can play, and we're not just stuck to one. And then when it's going through a horrible period, the game, we have to stay there. No. We need variety, and variety is on the horizon, and I can't wait. But let me know what you guys think. And before I go, let me just give a shout out to Wolverine. He's one of my followers who gave me the invitational code to Xdefiant. Thank you ever so much, sir. Unfortunately, I couldn't stream it because of the NDA, but yeah, you're an absolute gem for that. But apart from that, thank you all. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.